small town character, we have require variation in size and price for development. We have commitment to SMB with a legacy to Boston for sustainability. Example, Red Barrel Cider Mill, Charlotte Boston Hotel, so small businesses. Community Days, so Boston Hills Fest, I know that was brought over for down the line, but I thought it was really good for small town character and that community feeling. Find ways to connect the youth. We have to our charm, I believe that's what it says, right, our charm. Small growth, keep property taxes reasonable, programs to connect kids with nature. Maintain nature trail and at the town park. Farmers market. How are we feeling about goal 1? Are there any questions or concerns or conversations you want to have?
I think they're great ideas to help the town get there.
Yeah.
What is that one in the blue on the right side? Yeah, that one.
Maintain nature trail at the town park. So I'm kind of feeling like this might be a goal 2. Right? Anyone else feeling that way? Yeah.
I think that works.
Could be.
Yes.
All right, any other concerns or questions? All right, let's move on to goal 2. So this one's, I think, got a lot. Preserve and protect the scenic, historic, and natural resources that define Boston. Support farmers with tax incentives. Support farmland protection through policy. Build out a historic district in each hamlet. New businesses must include foliage and trees to keep the country feel. Promote history with for example, the Historical Society building. Restrict rapid growth here, so essentially preserve those scenic views on top of the hills, so restricted on the top of the hills, and then too much water runoff affects residents in the valley, so restricting that growth up top to maintain and protect in the valley as well. Correct me if I got that wrong, or, yeah, correct, yep, we're good, okay. And then maintain nature trail at town park, sorry, move that over. And hiking, biking, and golf course. How are we feeling?
Good about the golf course.
Right? I heard that from the gentleman sitting next to you as well.
I don't know him well.
Do we have any questions about goal 2? Or comments?
Boston Greens, here it comes.
Yeah.
More design.
That's what we're hoping for.
All right, so
Imagine the views.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Just what the teenagers want.
And if it doesn't work out, just let it grow back and
Put a putt-putt
let the cows graze
next door.
it.
I mean, really nice golf scholarships, just saying.
I thought they mentioned it.
So we have goal 3. We have promote a balanced mix of housing, businesses, and services to create a self-sustaining live, work, and play community. So establish the Parks Department as a separate department to provide enhanced support and maintenance of town's natural features. I know that kind of relates to both, but I moved it over because I felt with the services, it would really do better here. Medical building near senior housing. That's a really good one. Senior living complex and accessory building or dwelling units, pardon me, and golf course again. for the work and play.
Sorry.
It's a business.
For the play.
That's a good goal.
So what do we think? Does anyone want to add anything? Yes.
One of the things that kind of was kicking around was the idea of saying, okay, the mix of business and housing, particularly in the hamlets, could be like a laser tag commercial thing for the kids in the first floor and then apartments on the second.
Yep.
Mixed use.
Mixed use.
Yep.
You know what, I'm gonna grab a Post-it note so I can add some of these as we go. All right.
Golf course is all well and good, but I don't think it's attractive to high school kids.
Disc, that's
Where I was
right.
going with that.
Disc golf?
Just
Oh, yeah.
go.
Oh,
They
yes.
have combined.
Yeah, they combine them, you do like part 3,
And also-
you have this
golf, and you're covering everywhere.
Yeah. It's very popular at Chestnut Ridge too, so they'll travel for disc golf, actually, like, people do travel for it. All right. Put disc golf down too. So goal number 4, promote transportation, planning, and design that is safe and meets the needs of all users. Make Erie County, have shoulders on Boston State Road like it does before Zimmerman Road. Bike lane, transportation, park and ride, bus route, charging stations. Better traffic flow at Zimmerman 391 and also at 391 at Tim Hortons. Perhaps traffic circles and sidewalks to promote walking traffic to businesses and more businesses in that area. But I think it was pretty solid. I'm sorry if I was mouthful. All right. So intersection of 391 in Zimmerman and Herman Hill. Very uninviting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Properties are not well kept. Traffic circles like in Hamburg with flowers, sidewalks, etc. I love flowers too. So that works. Do you all love flowers?
Yeah, there's supposed to be flowers in the golf course
Flowers.
too.
I'll volunteer, of course, and Amber,
Yeah.
so you can see this volunteer.
Well, we have the Girl Scouts over here, so they might be able to volunteer.
We have volunteer opportunities will go here.
Yes. So better shoulders or sidewalks on roads. I think that's gonna come up a lot, yeah. Try to ensure any road work doesn't drastically interfere with traffic. Maybe study business or busiest traffic hours. Safety is the concern. Note as well. So any questions, observations, concerns, anything to add? Goal number 4? Come on, don't be shy. All right, well, we'll move on to goal number 5 then. All right, improve and maintain local infrastructure to meet current and future needs and ensure resiliency. All right, so we have a couple that have been identified as both goal 4 and goal 5. I threw them over here just because, you know, a little uneven. So this is 4 and 5, Zimmerman to Boston, free library road or beyond, made safer, including bike pedestrian, Abbott Boston State, Boston Cross, circle at Abbott Boston State, Boston Cross. That's, take
Should
care.
we put that over with goal 4?
You want to go for?
It's talking about traffic circle?
Yes, you're right, go for it. Thank you, Mom. Take care of what infrastructure we already have before we add more to take care of. 8,000 residents, only 3,500 tax bills, not a lot of revenue. Yeah. Explore opportunities for increasing walkability of town sidewalks and or trails that improve connectivity within or between townlets. Expand shoulders to facilitate a bike lane, complete streets. Yeah, I guess this one really does belong here, doesn't it? Improve drainage, replace culverts with pipe so they don't need to be dredged every year. Yes. I think a couple people are big fans of this one. All right. Anything to add for goal 5? Yeah.
If I can just ask, so on the drainage, on whoever, I'm just curious. We do have a town-wide drainage plan. That's something that's relatively new to the community that we worked on. Is that an open ditch or is that a culvert that's in the ground? I mean, you're saying it's dredged, so is it a culvert?
They're open ditches and
Yep.
they get dredged, and every year there's,
Yep.
gets to the point where the telephone poles that are relying on that soil to hold them in place. This isn't in there anymore. You're exposing some septic lines and some water lines to freezing too when you're pulling that much back. And it, you know, I mean, it's a lot for somebody.
Much where they can drainage.
You know, I mean,
If you don't mind me asking, is there a particular road that's on?
and then we're on Keller, it's very near.
Keller, got it. Yeah.
And I should point out that not that I want you to make the road wider, but it just gives you an idea that when you have cars coming down, it's like, you know, how close should I get to this car? Or how much should I chance going into one of these ditches? Because if you go in, you're gonna be, you know, looking up or looking straight down. And one year, I was behind it just after an accident occurred where the girl, you know, ended up making the wrong decision and getting struck by the blade of a snowplow.
Oh, wow.
And it was about, you know, 10 years back.
Yeah, we worked with, we actually worked with two engineers, CPL and then also Lavella. Lavella did a townwide drainage plan for us, and then we created, the town board, and then we created a drainage reserve account to kind of start to take on these things again. To those in the valley, we deal with a lot of water. It doesn't matter if you're at the top, at the bottom, and we have drainage and flooding concerns, believe it or not, at the top of some of these hills just as much as we do at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, right.
But to your point, you know, there's this comprehensive plan can help us seek additional state funds, because there's funding going in for drainage infrastructure and others, and there's also, you know, a lot of federal money. So being proactive with this plan can help out with some of those things to hopefully mitigate
You can go
those
down
risks.
Fedek Road, because we
Mhm.
walked around the block, and there were some areas I'm going, oh my God, if a car, and this is on Fedek, near Mayor.
Okay.
Um,
I know
just
exactly
a little
what you're
bit,
talking about. I live on George, so.
Oh, okay.
Exactly what you're talking about.
And there's just some areas there that you go, oh man, and
Yeah.
you can, the road is, you know,
Hey, did you ever
between the
see
waist and shoulder.
You ever see the waste management truck that got stuck in one of those ditches?
No, that
Yeah,
is.
that was about 2 years ago. Oh, yeah.
But the point being is,
But I understand,
you
totally
know, it
understand.
could really save, I mean, it could save somebody's life if they at least could pull off to the shoulder if they had to.
Yeah. No, it's great feedback. This is exactly why we're doing this. It's great feedback, so thank you. Yeah.
And I did take
Sorry,
that
Brenda,
note
thank you.
down to be a little more specific with what this was referring to, so I did add some of the details that you just mentioned. Thank you. Do we have anything else to add about the current and future needs, about the infrastructure, resiliency, adding to resiliency of the community?
There was one thing that really wasn't touched upon, I think, and that is, we have a, and I've only been to it once, but we have like a rod and gun club in this area.
Airport.
And are they involved in any of this, these discussions?
That's even.
Is it, that's even?
I'm
I'm
pretty
not
sure
sure.
they're even, yeah.
Are you talking about Boston Conservation?
Yeah, the Boston Conservation, it's up
on
with.
Boston.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because that's where we went. Anyway, there, what I guess I'm trying to mention here is not only in the schools, as far as education is concerned, but I know that they offer training for kids, fishing, how to handle a gun, et cetera. Anything that's educational,
Right,
that's part of this community, should be further promoted.
yeah, I agree, I think.
And it could be agriculture,
Yeah,
you know,
And-
4-H.
and I think that that's definitely a good point, because I think education is gonna be huge. And I mean, even when it comes to, you know, putting the resources out and making them accessible, right? So I'm actually, I took that note, I'm gonna add it right here.
And training kids to take out the other ladies' garbage.
the seniors like to do that too.
And future-proof it, so when they have a golf course, they're learning how to golf.
Yes, exactly.
It's a trade-off.
Fair enough. Well, that kind of leads us into the next one, allocate resources to support public services, encourage civic responsibility and, you know, community involvement, access to local leadership, expand tax base, quality and frequency of services, adequately fund volunteer firefighters and EMS. And so what we have seen from that is add webpage to town website outlining resources for ag producers, including funding technical assistance, Am I reading that correctly? Thank you. Then also funding of auxiliary boards and community fundraisers and support public services, all for one. And then of course, the educational aspect of things, as we were just referring to. So I mean, that right there is a whole conversation, right? So do we have anything to add to that? Yes.
Brenna, we did talk, and some of the strengths in the community are the senior services, like the lunch program
Right.
and just enhancing the senior programs. And I'm surprised how many people I talk to that don't know about that. We print the calendar of meals and give them out at the office, but this room, I mean, is a huge asset. And so continued funding for those programs, I think, is really important.
The funding and awareness is where we can.
A lot of that's through Erie
Like I
County.
said, if people don't know, they can't come.
Right.
Correct, yeah, so if you didn't, for everybody that's here, if you didn't know, there's two large senior groups, Boston Young at Heart, Boston Seniors, they'll be alternating Fridays. And, but the congregate dining program, that's how we got the speaker and all partnering with Erie County. It's a county program funded through the county. There's a contractual agreement there, but the awareness and the education is a big part of that. So we try to speak to both those leaders, at least what we found, and could change tomorrow, but what we found through those group leaders is that there's, I'll just chalk it up to you, there's a kind of a self-pride that even though they can come into that lunch program and pay a suggested $3 for that lunch, some people don't want to go into that program because they're worried that they might be viewed that they need that help. That's not what it's about at all. It's about coming in. If you have the $3, great. If you don't, nobody's being turned away. But then afterwards, if you take a look at the whiteboard, some of the other things that we've modernized, actually Allison is back down in the office, but she's my assistant and also my deputy supervisor. We created the whiteboard over there too, like Jen was saying, to try to promote all of the services and things that are available. Because then we do game days on Wednesdays. You know, we've got a bunch of guys and gals shoot pool. You know, we try to get that, you know, provide those services to the senior population just because of the fact, respectfully, we don't want them sitting at home. You know, we're humans. We're social creatures. We want people to get together. So, you know, those are the things, but I do agree with what Jennifer's saying. It's amazing that we promote it and promote it and promote it, and we just don't get a bigger draw. But we have grown the program from roughly maybe low double digits. And when I say low, I'm saying like 10, 11 for a long time. We're at times 30 to 40 people now, so it is growing. The awareness is out there. But there is still, sadly, there's still that, I don't want to go because I don't want people to think I can't afford things, and that's not what it's about at all. If you look at Lancaster or other bigger communities, their senior centers, they're hopping. When you go there for lunch, there's over 100 people there, and it's great because everybody's coming together, they're sharing stories, they're talking about things. You got the guy shooting pool, you got the...
So is this the place where people come for senior activity? Or?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a...
So we don't technically have a senior center.
We don't have an actual senior center. That would be, admittedly, it'd be very expensive in today's world. Capital projects for government is about $500 a square foot. So this has been redubbed as the senior community room. It used to be just known as the community room, but it's now the senior community room. So by doing so, this is eligible for community development block grant funds, where we're able to get the new heating and cooling units that you see mounted to the outside of the building, but that's here instead of the old baseboard heating that we used to have. So we modernized that. We're working on additional funding through Erie County to upgrade the range, the dishwasher, and put in a refrigerator there so we can support that, and also the Meals on Wheels program that we also offer to community residents. So there's a lot of good things going. It's just a matter of, like anything else, it's about managing money, the need. It's the balancing act is really what it comes down to. But as we can provide, again to Jennifer's point, as we can get more people involved, Erie County is going to provide additional support and resources to do that. So we have a Wednesday exercise program for the senior population. They can come down, they turn it on, and you can do a kind of an a la carte. You have a person that comes in. There's a lot of versatility there for sure.
And,
So,
So I was gonna say, that almost ties into having like that community days, where we can showcase, like have one day where we showcase to the town all these programs that are offered, all these auxiliary boards, everything that the town has, just put it out there one day in the summer, everyone sets up a table, small businesses, all of that.
Well, maybe it falls under the umbrella for goal 6 of just, we heard it earlier, education. Right, even an open house here, just for seniors to come in and see what it's all about, hear what it's all about, to understand what it's all about, if we're having trouble with that perception of.
Well, here we are all out tonight, roughly 8,200, 8,100, depending on what census numbers you want to use, 81 to 8,200 people. Look who we have tonight. I mean, public meeting. Town board meetings are the same. Whether I was a councilman or now supervisor, I can look at all of you as taxpayers that pay my salary and say, look, I wish more people would come into board meetings. There's a lot of good information comes out there, which is why we now live stream them, because let's face it, we all have one of these things or a tablet. But we're trying to get that outreach, we're trying to connect, and Boston does struggle with outreach admittedly, because there are multiple newspapers that serve Boston. If you don't subscribe to them, you're not getting that publication. We can pop it in the mail, but that's a cost to respectfully use the taxpayers, because we have to do public, even if we create it in-house, we still have the printing and the postage cost to get that out the door. So again, it's the classic story of a balancing act, but, you know, really, any ideas, we are totally open to them.
And I just wanna like point out that this is an idea surrounding like that aging in place. We were discussing in one of the groups, you know, they asked for what the breakdown of the percentages of breakdown of the demographics surrounding age.
The
pardon me.
distribution.
Distributions, thank you. Whew. And,
Couldn't think of it either.
yeah, and, you know, we've seen that there's a huge increase in people who are between the ages of, I think it was 55 plus, and a huge decrease in those young families' ages. And that's why, you know, the steering committee had focused on certain groups in different ways, you know. We have a huge number of people who want to know how to age in place and how to do it socially and successfully. And I think that that's something that, you know, it's important to let you know will be addressed in this. You know, we know that there's a population around, you know, that Boston has that population. So aging in place is a huge part of something that's gonna be included in this plan. So, and I know Jen, you had.
Yeah, Jason, just one more question on that. Wasn't there 20 years ago money set aside in a plan for a rec center? Because are those monies like reinvested into the rec center? Are they still sitting there for something down the road?
Great question. To answer your question, yes, there was what's called a reserve account. Reserve account, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. So anytime a town board creates a reserve account, it has to, under state law, be designated for a specific use, AKA senior center. Right now, there's less than $100,000 in there, and could it be used for that? Yes. There's a couple irons in the fire on that topic. It's kind of neat to see what the community wants from the Post-it notes, and then also our first public meeting. We'll see what happens. I can tell you that there is a piece of land next to the troopers that the town owns. Maybe a partnership down the road. I won't let the cat out of the bag too soon, because there's no promise, but again, a capital project for a building this size is roughly about $500 a square foot. So as I like to tell people, that your average 1,500 to 2,000 square foot home, if they err on that higher side of a 2,000 square foot home, which is the average size of the Boston home here, it's $1 million project all day long. It's just, things are expensive. You know, we're not just facing it in groceries and everything else and gas prices and all. That's the reality. Things are expensive. And if you've been down to the North Boston Park, that small brand new pavilion that was down there, thank God we were able to pull in some community development broadband funds and used American Rescue Plan funds instead of all the money going into the water project that went up and down Boston State Road down that way. But that was a $500,000 project. So if you've seen it, that project alone, and that was a low bid. So, and again, under law, it has to go out to bid. The town board can't just pick, you know, favorites per se for contractors. Bid specs go out, designed by the engineer, goes out to bid, the bids come back, the town board gives it the thumbs up or thumbs down based off that low bid. There's a clause that's called best bid. There's very strict criteria around that. So could a senior center be put in? Yes, but we'd be looking at a very expensive project. And to set all of that in perspective, under the municipal budget, it's all on the town website. Feel free to take a look. But that 2% tax cap, that's the catchphrase that's out there all the time. Everybody's like, oh, you gotta stay on that 2% tax cap for the little town of Boston. That growth factor of 2%, last year's current budget, that was a little over $100,000.
And is that senior center and the recreation monies you're talking about, that's the same? That's anonymous?
That money,
Or do we
that
have
money
a
cannot be
recreation fund
used.
and a senior citizen? I mean,
nope, that money is earmarked, if you will, for a senior center, because that's
okay,
the
for a
reserve
senior
account.
center, okay.
Yep.
So
So until
is
there's-
there anything, but my question is that considered a recreational center?
A senior center could be.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because if there was monies for a recreational center, like something for the kids, like
Yep.
the Boys and Girls Club,
I hear you.
all right?
I hear you.
Like with Orchard Park
I hear
is
you.
during the day, it's
That's
this
that
and during the-
collaboration.
Yeah.
You're picking up on my little breadcrumbs that I'm dropping.
Yes.
Yes, so if,
So my question is, can you pull the two monies together if they existed.
Yes, yes. So could there be a collaboration down the road with Boys and Girls Club of, America and or Orchard Park / Boston? If you didn't know, the Boys and Girls Club over here is a partnership between, to charter the Boston one. We had the partner because the Boys and Girls Club International was not allowing additional charters. We had to partner with Orchard Park. That's how that all came to be. But there's I'll just chalk it up to, there's a plan, or was a plan years ago for Orchard Park to expand. It's possible here. So yes, the theory would be that the seniors could use the building during, let's say, the lunch program for exercise, whatever it happens to be. By the time the transition of the seniors kind of going out, going back home for the evening, whatever it is, the kids are just about getting out of school, they come in and they pick up on the back end, and now you get that building used.
That sounds like a potential priority project to me.
Yes, so that's what this all comes out to, but Jen is 100% right, that there is a reserve account, and the reason that money has never been touched is because of the fact that it's in a reserve account. In today's world, that $75,000 would not even cover engineering costs for a bid spec. Sadly, it's tough, and things are just ridiculously expensive right now.
So Jason, not to continue in the weeds on that topic,
That's okay.
but state, local funding available for those type of things, federal
Can we
funding?
do a,
And I'm thinking here, today's 2024, we're looking at 2035, what's that $500 square foot gonna look like in 11 years?
God help us. Truly, God help us. So probably one of the more appealing funding opportunity mechanisms, which was actually secured, we're very lucky to get it, was a CFA or Consolidated Funding Application. We're very lucky to knock that down here. I'll be, again, you're all citizens of the community. I was told at the time from our grant writer at the time, how the heck did you get that? We got lucky. It happened to be a person, admittedly, that I knew at Department of State, not that they could probably favors, but again, this is all above board. I'm an open book if you couldn't tell. But I had a conversation. I said, we haven't had one of these in a long time. Our last master plan was, it sits in my office, but it's actually a wood grain cover and it was typed. We have not modernized the plan for Boston in decades. Comprehensive plan was an update revision was done roughly almost 20 years ago. So this is long overdue, and to your point, Frank, I knew going back to that 2% tax cap number. How about that? That 2% tax cap number, that growth factor was $100,000. So if I had to bake this into the municipal budget, how do I balance that? Lights go up, gas goes up, salt, sand, all that stuff goes up, and we were able to secure the funding, and really, it's great.
So I guess this boils down to who wants to keep this, how big did you say, how big is this community?
36 square miles.
36 square miles.
People-wise.
People-wise?
And 100.
Your last census was just shy of 8,100.
Okay, so how many, I guess you want to say is how big do you want to make Boston in terms of growing it to a higher population so that you have the tax base to pay for the,
You want to preserve
Yeah.
the scenery.
but you got,
You
no,
also have to
Well,
Keep the
understand
small town
populations,
character, it's a balance.
it changes.
right, that's what I'm saying, so how
you
far
know.
can you grow it? Still keep the balance, we got these other,
Boston will grow slowly because of what I was saying earlier, because of the backbone infrastructure to support it. If you don't have water and sewer, you're not gonna get density
That's a
like
good
Deanna
point.
Drive subdivision. That's pumping the brakes on that large development. Whoever, whether it's this board, another town board, whoever, they start taking an aggressive approach to building out, and I'll also toss in here, and I